What's up, world? You're now tapped in to TapN TV show. I'm your host, Mac the Motivator, and today we'll be speaking about having a discussion about a real serious subject, mental health. And I'm in Atlanta, on the Beltline, and I gotta go check in with my psychotherapist. Look here, there he go right here, man. Introduce yourself to the people.
My name is Cecil. Like you said, I'm a psychotherapist here in Atlanta working with mental illness.
Okay, and he's working with mental illness. So any questions you guys have, make sure you leave them down in the comments because we can tap in with him later on after this show. But best believe I'm gonna have some great questions to ask him. I am your host with the most, Mac the Motivator. This is TapN TV, and this is Cecil Walker. And we're gonna be talking about mental health today, baby.
Start the show, yeah, time to start the show. Hey, time to start the show, yeah, time to start the show. Every single weekend, got them plugged in. Every single weekend, got them plugged in. Hey, time to start the show, yeah, time to start the show. Hey, time to start the show, yeah, time to start the show. Hey, every single weekend, got them plugged in. Every single weekend, got them plugged in. Yeah. This podcast is brought to you by 31 Shade Street Production.
All right. What's up, world? It's Mac the Motivator, and I'm on the couch with Cecil Walker, our psychotherapist in Atlanta. And if you guys got any questions, like I said, I need you to put it down there in that comments and section, and make sure you tap that subscribe button right now, and make sure you hit that cash app. You may see right there. I just thought of the cash app. I just started to cash out. But yeah, it's Mac the Motivator, your host. And today we talking about a serious subject. It's mental health. And we got Cecil Walker here, and he's gonna let us know everything that we need to know about it because he's one of the best in the city. So if you're in Atlanta and you need you a psychotherapist, somebody to speak to, somebody that you can probably text at the middle of the night when you're going through some things, this is your guy right here. So let them know where you from, man, and how you got started.
I'm from right here in Atlanta. I was born in New York City, but grew up here, went to school here. And
Okay.
I'm working in private practice in the city.
Okay.
The way I got started, I guess, was just an interest in people, an interest in psychology, figuring out how things work for people, what goes on in people's minds.
Cool. So do you have a few individuals in your mind that you can think of that may set that for you? Was it a woman or a man that a situation that you've seen that you like, you know what? I want to know a little bit more about the human mind.
Well, I can't think of anybody in particular, but I just noticed growing up, everybody has their own differences, and I was always wondering what makes everybody so different, how people turn out the way they turn out, how people think the way that they think. And once you start wondering about that stuff,
you just kept going in that deep hole of psychology. So, okay. So when it comes down to mental health, what does mental health mean to you, though, as an individual?
Yeah, mental health is a big one. I mean, people talk so much about like your body health, your physical health, but mental health is that's your emotional health too. That's your what's going on inside of you, in terms of how you're feeling, how you're thinking, how you relate to the people around you, the things that you do on a daily basis, and a big part of it too is not only how you feel about the situation you're in, but how you treat yourself too, how you think about yourself. Yeah,
it's definitely. I'm for sure that's probably some of the main issues when people come into your office is self issues. So So what are some of those issues that we should look at as just regular, I guess, people in this world that we going through every day? What is some of those things that stand out that we can recognize about ourselves that we may have those issues, mental health issues?
The most common things that you probably, everyone absolutely knows somebody who has one or both of these things. The most common things is depression and anxiety. And what both of those are, I mean, real quick, depression is just an assortment of symptoms that basically mean you're kind of at a low point. You're, for whatever
emotionally,
reason, it's
just mentally.
It's emotionally, mentally. There's a neurochemistry that's going on there too that could be off balance.
We're gonna talk about that.
Yeah. But just the best way to capture all of it is you're feeling low. You're at a low point. Some people can't get out of bed, but also then some people don't feel like talking. They don't want to do the things that they used to like to do.
Also, that can grow, like that depression can grow within time to a point. Like it can be an active person, and then all of a sudden they just don't want to do the things they used to do no more.
Yeah. It don't have to have anything to do with your personality. Literally, one of the symptoms is what you call the diagnostic manual, the DSM-5, and one of the symptoms is you just don't have interest in the stuff that you used to have interest in.
Wow. Can you speak a little bit about that anxiety thing, though?
Yeah, and then anxiety on the other side is you almost think about it as the opposite. It's not quite the opposite, but it is an overactivity of the mind almost. It's when you find yourself thinking too much, worrying too much.
I might got anxiety.
It overlaps with a lot of things.
I think too much. I know I get in my way. I'm really my biggest competition. Like I'm really my biggest competition. Like I get in my way.
The thing is, it's on a spectrum too. So it's like it's not on or off anxiety or not anxiety. Sometimes people have a little bit of it, or sometimes they got a medium amount of it.
Yeah, you right
or just the specific, kind of specific symptoms of it. But it's real possible. It's really common in a lot of people. So
can mental illness be inherited?
Yeah. Absolutely. It's both actually. You can inherit it, and the situations you found yourself in can also increase the chances that you do have it. Some diseases, mental health disorders, are more likely to be inherited than others.
Okay.
Like bipolar disorder. A lot of times, if your mother or your grandmother or somebody had it, you can probably look out for it somewhere else because it's usually not just one person in your family.
And another question, even though, like you said, things can be inherited, right? When it comes down to the individual choice of food, because we said about the emotion and the physical standpoint of health, right? When it comes down to choice of food, how much does that affect the mental standpoint?
Food makes a huge difference. I mean, everything you do in your life, you could kind of say every decision you make all day long can impact your mental health in a small way or a big way.
Okay.
But food is definitely a huge one. It's a lot of neurochemistry influences how you feel and your emotional health. And if you're not quite eating the things that you need to eat, if you don't find yourself getting enough variety or certain kinds of nutrients, your brain actually can't make the chemicals that it needs to make. And that's one way you could find yourself feeling a little bit low, feeling like you don't have the dopamine or the serotonin that you need.
Okay. So, all right, I was doing a little homework too, you know what I'm saying, before I got here, and just to get this interview popping, you know what I mean? I seen a little something that had me kind of worried, man. They say mental illness can affect your sex drive.
It can absolutely affect your sex drive. Not everyone's depression can look exactly the same. But a lot of people who suffer from depression, it's a problem with their dopamine system. And dopamine is what
they trigger the brain.
Right. Yeah. That's the trigger in your brain. That's the motivation that you feel.
Yeah, I know some, y'all. Yeah, boy.
So anything that you find yourself wanting, that's where that interest comes in. Dopamine has some part in that. If that's a slab of baby back ribs that you just saw somebody put down in front of you, and you feel yourself getting ready to want that, to eat that, that's dopamine. And obviously that's what's happening when you feel yourself getting kind of like horned up and you about to go do what you do.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah.
So if that system is kind of messed up, you're not going to operate the same kind of way.
So even though we was talking about depression like a few seconds ago when we were talking about the sex thing, but is depression contagious?
Like if someone around you has it? It's
because me personally, I feel like it is. I'm not.
It's not contagious like COVID-19 is. It's not like a depressed person could cough on another person and make them
That's what it seems like.
But like your environment.
Hey man, keep that shit.
Yeah, that's how you gotta. That's how you be, man. You gotta,
that's when you wear your mask.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I be watching out for some of
But you
this.
be like that anyway. Let's not come around all that.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Man, go on all that negative
But you know,
shit.
like the thing about with me. I had to realize what was depression because I used to think people was just being weird. So he's just like, man, get your weird ass away from me. Like, you know what I mean? I don't like you, bro. I don't want to be friends. Like, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, this person may be going through something and they may be asking you because you may be the person that can fix their problem because you have characteristics that this person don't have. You know what I'm saying? So I realized that I always thought that depression was contagious. So I always try to surround myself with people that's like-minded and people that's not scared to tell you a little bit about yourself, you know?
No, your environment does matter a lot. That can affect your own mental health. It's who you have around you and what's going on around you. But it's not the same like a cold, like you can't catch it like that. But you can increase your chances or decrease your chances depending on, you know, who you have around you.
And can you give us some examples of what bipolar is? Because I have some down in my notes and it was talking about like genetics and things and how that goes in mood swings and stuff like that. So
I think people get bipolar disorder a little bit confused with things. They think it's when your personality changes, when you kind of have these jumps from personality to personality. And it's not quite like that. Bipolar disorder is, they used to call it, like years ago, they used to call it manic depressive disorder.
Yeah, they showed it. I remember that.
Right.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember
so
that.
if somebody tell you they got that, they ain't been to their therapist in a while, but they must have been diagnosed way back in the day.
They not updated.
But it's when you cycle back and forth between depression and what they call mania. Okay. And mania is that kind of is the opposite of depression. It's when you feel like you're on top of the world. Okay. But it's a clinical problem because you start taking risks and doing dangerous things you wouldn't normally do. You might spend all your money in one night. You might not sleep for 2-3 days straight.
You sound like Wolf of Wall Street.
Well, a lot of them are on cocaine, so that's a little different.
Oh, cocaine. Okay, he's not bipolar. He's on cocaine. Okay, I get it, my friend. So what kind of coping techniques did you teach your clients to use? Well, he fired. I
ain't gonna tell you what to do, but
he might know about. But what kind of coping techniques did you advise your clients to use when it comes down to dealing with their depression?
Yeah. There's a lot of things you can do. It depends on what you have, like you said, what your particular struggle is. If it's depression, some of the things that usually tends to work. Definitely improving how you're eating. You can't just eat chicken nuggets all day long.
Yeah, hey guys, y'all heard that. So all y'all chicken lovers out there, hey buddy, you know. Yeah,
you got to get a good variety of things. A good trick that you could use is if you're eating things of different colors throughout the day, you got a good shot at eating a good enough variety if the stuff you're eating is lots of different colors.
That makes sense.
Another thing is just like being physically active, like just moving. You don't have to run a marathon, but like as long as you just moving about, you're doing stuff, you're not sitting all day.
So in other words, being active is something that we all need to do. Like we all need to be active in every point of our life, and that's physically, mentally, emotionally, financially. Like we just need to be active on everything we need. Like so. When it comes down to something that's very, very serious in America, but around the world, is our U.S. military. So when it comes down to them being in the military, how do you feel like these vets been affected by going out here to war and, you know what I'm saying, being in situations that they never thought they'd probably be in? How do you think that affected them? And how do you think it's a good way for them to cope with that?
So like I said earlier, a lot of this stuff falls on a spectrum, right? From like, you don't really have that much to worry about to something really intense is going on with you. And usually someone who is suffering after being in the military, they're falling on that intense side. And they probably have some kind of diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. And it's an anxiety disorder, and it can look like really extreme anxiety. In fact, they start to have nightmares and flashbacks. They'll suddenly just be triggered back into like they're in that moment. Oh, wow. Even if they're just sitting here. Things that reminded them of whatever the traumatic moments were. Like if they
Small things get triggered.
Yeah. So if they were having bombs that, blew off all around them, the sound of a motorcycle could make them just flash right back to that kind of situation.
So when it comes down to those individuals, we know a lot of those individuals will have families. So I would like for you to give the kids some type of insight how to deal with a parent that's maybe a veteran, you know what I mean, that maybe been in the military, how to kind of deal with they family members. Because, being young, you can't really talk too much, but you can at least let your mama know, hey, you acting crazy. Hey, Mo, you acting a little crazy. You just told me to put mustard on my funk cake. You know what I'm saying?
I would say first, don't ignore it. Because I think that's what a lot of families do, and not on purpose. Like sometimes they don't even know what to call it. They don't know what that is. So the best way to go about it is to just pretend like nothing happened. Just like see if you can go by. So don't ignore it. I would say try to see if they can talk to their doctor. If they're a veteran, they could go to the VA.
So the VA have a lot of options for them?
Yeah. Their resources can be tight sometimes, but they do have options. You can get medication. You can see a therapist. You can get all that kind of stuff. And there's lots of things that do work. Like there's medication for those nightmares. You take whatever they prescribe you, and the nightmares should stop. You should find yourself feeling a little bit calmer, a little safer. Just trying to address the problem head on. And the most important thing you can try to do is to try to like reacclimate yourself to like normal life.
Normal life.
Try to convince your body, your mind that you're not at war anymore. You may need to go to
like the what it is, what's that garden place with all the flowers and stuff in Atlanta?
Oh, the botanical garden.
They may need
that might do it. Yeah. You can walk around some daisies.
Walk around some daisies barefooted. While they play some jazz in the background.
Just bring the whole, bring yourself down.
Exactly. So that may work. I may even have to do that myself, Hey, being barefoot in the world. They say that's tree hugging. Do you believe in that? Tree huggers?
I mean, there's something about being outside and being in nature that's good for your mental health. Yeah, definitely.
Is this all in the book somewhere where I can find this? Because I may just take your job.
I think there's room for both of us. You got to take
my bad. I was just saying, I feel like I'm a little competitive sometimes. I'm just talking shit, but when it comes down to you, though, how do people get in contact with you and like booking appointments or anything of that? How do you do
that's a good question. So you can go to my website. I have a website. That's cecilrwalker.com, CecilRwalker.com. And you can leave me a message there. You can even email me at cecil.ralston.walker. Or if you go to my website, my phone number is there, my office phone number, and you can call me and leave a message.
Okay. And when it comes down to different options people have, do you have that virtual option and like the physical option to be able to have
right now I'm still doing those two different options. You could come see me in person in my office, or we can set up a virtual call where we'll just do it over video.
And is it like any games or like apps or something that people can get into that helps with them, like just keeping their mind active when it comes down to it? Is this anything that you know of? Because I don't.
Yeah, there's. Well, when you say active, what do you mean? Like,
you know how people wake up in the middle of the night and they may want to have a question to ask they therapist, but it may be like a scramble game that they can play that would take that thing that they thinking about off their mind, the way it may be I don't know.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of what they call like mindfulness based apps, and it is really good at that, at helping relieve your mind of whatever might be going on for it. And I can't think of all of them, but I think one of them is called Calm. If you just go to like your app store and look up like, mindfulness or something like that, a bunch of them will pop up, and they got all these kinds of things that help you with like meditations or calming kind of things, or just guided ways of thinking through whatever might be kind of on your mind. I know there's also a lot of other like therapy services. I think one of them is called BetterHelp, where you can like get directly in contact with the therapist over like text or chat or whatever. There's like a lot of examples of ways to get in touch with some help.
So do you work with any other doctors around Atlanta?
I'm not really. I mean, sometimes they'll send me people, like if someone went to the doctor and said, I'm not feeling all right, and the doctor said that looks like depression, they might like email me and be like, could you see this person?
Okay.
That kind of thing might happen.
So what if I told you I seen this person, right? I got this little story. I used to drive Uber, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I used to drive Uber, right? So I used to talk to a lot of people. I'm talking about a lot of people. And
sounds like you were already a therapist then.
I think that's why I told you I was gonna take a job, but then you said there's no room for us. So I said, "Why be so competitive?
Right?
Just make room for us, black people. Let's stick together, right?" So I picked this young lady up from a hospital, right? And she got. I'm gonna make the story real quick. It was definitely a long story because it was a long ride. That was the word. So I had about 45 minutes to an hour ride with her. And I picked her up from the hospital, and she was telling me about how her life has been hectic because she's been in a relationship with this man and he has a girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
She was the wife. And sometimes the girlfriend and the husband will gang up on the wife and they'll beat her up or they'll just talk down to her verbally or whatever. So she said the time what made her end up being in the hospital was that they tried to gang up on her and beat her up. So she said she locked herself in the bathroom. So she was telling me about when she locked herself in the bathroom, she was just sitting there and she was just sitting on the toilet, and she said this green man came out the tub and he told her to do some bad things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I asked her, did she listen to him? She said, sometimes I listen to him, but this time I said, no, you get out of there, you go back in that tub. So right then and there, I swallowed my laugh because I knew it was real.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I knew that this situation right here was very, very real. And it was my first time ever really being introduced to it. So I had to really hold back myself. I didn't want to make her feel bad.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to lie. I learned so much from that ride because I never dealt with things like that.
Yeah.
So to sit up there and see somebody had to take control of herself and still will be considered someone that's dealing with mental issues like tough, because she had to take medicine. It was real. Like I had to drop her off at her friend's house because she didn't want to go back home.
Yeah.
Like she didn't have no clothes. So it's very real. So when I heard that story, I thought it was so crazy because she was talking about this green man out the tub telling her to do all this bad stuff. And I'm looking like, this lady can't be serious. But when I looked at her eyes, man, she was so serious, like so serious. So when it come down to things like that, I think this conversation that we having is really gonna have a lot of people out here wanting to go get some help.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
If your phone start ringing off the hook, don't call me. I ain't started work yet. I ain't opened up my I ain't opened up my practice yet, so my doors ain't open. They may have to hit me on the DM or something. You know what I mean? But other than that, though, what's some of your strong points being a psychotherapist, like on the standpoint of keeping your mind sane?
Mm-hmm. So like, how you stay good myself?
Yeah, hearing all these stories,
while I'm doing all that.
dealing with the world, like how you take care of yourself, man?
Well, I think there's two answers that I got to that. One of them is I don't see it like I'm having to deal with all these broken people.
Mm-hmm.
I see it as like people come in and they've kind of lost track of the better version of themselves. Mm-hmm. And so my job is helping to kind of like watch as they put that better version back together again. Watch as they kind of reclaim, that other side of themselves. And that makes it feel a lot easier. That makes it feel like I actually really like that. I like doing that kind of thing. And it's amazing what you see people do after some time.
Because I was about to ask you, do you see some similarities in a lot of people, like us as a whole, as a world?
Yeah.
Because I think we more alike than different.
It's definitely true. Yeah, that is definitely true. Yes, for sure. The second thing I would say is, I think, and this applies to anybody doing any kind of a stressful job, is you got to have like your own kind of boundaries. You got to know how, if it's Sunday, I can't be sitting in front of my computer all day answering emails. Like I gotta do whatever I gotta do too for myself. I gotta go hang out with my friends. I gotta go eat dinner when I need to eat dinner and all those kinds of things.
You're definitely right about that.
Yeah.
You're definitely right about that. So being in this world too, how many of our world leaders you think deal with mental issues, just having such a big role in life? Like, how many you think our world leaders, like the presidents, like captains and, you know what I'm saying? Like, even the pilot, you know what I mean? Like, of a plane. Like, I for sure, like, these people, jobs are so intense. So, what do you think about that? Like,
stress is a real strong cause of mental health issues. So I have no doubt that people who are president, people who are pilots, people who deal with that kind of stress on a daily basis have at least some kind of mental health, kind of something going on.
You think they get some help, man? You
probably.
think Obama had some help before? I think he needs some help because his hair just turned gray in like
that's
1 year.
Lot of stress. That's a lot of stress, and I feel like either like you just have that kind of like you've already worked out your brain to where you could handle that kind of stuff. But I think they probably need a little bit of help along the way. They probably, at the very least, have some kind of like somebody to coach them through it.
I think y'all need some help, man. I think y'all really need somebody on the team. I think definitely let's do we talking about like leaders. Our police officers, I really think they need a lot of psychiatric help. You know what I mean? Because, and when I say that, I'm not saying it in a mean way. I'm saying it because it was a situation on the internet where this guy had stopped this young black boy from stealing his car. And he pulled out a gun, but he didn't kill the young boy. He pulled the guy out the car. He talked to him, told him like, I seen myself in you, and we all did dumb things before in life, and he was just trying to give him another chance. And what stuck in my head was that if he was just another person, like a white cop in a black neighborhood, that young guy would have been dead. You know what I'm saying? And because every day this is what you see. You just see an individual that's terrorizing the neighborhood, that's labeled a thug or a thief or something like that. But when that black guy pulled that gun out and he told that young man to get out, he seen a king. He seen somebody that had a potential future. Yeah. You know what I mean? So when it comes down to like TapN TV, we want a world, what we're trying to build here is a world of leaders, like people that really want to see something better. I'm not saying that we got to have a perfect world, but I do think it's some things we need to tweak, you know what I mean?
No, definitely.
So like another thing that I feel like that's affecting our kids is YouTube, Twitter, and all these social media platforms. How you feel about that?
I agree. I mean, that's different than what people grew up on before, right? So obviously, a big change like that gotta have some kind of.
I'm talking about, bro, Cecil. I'm talking about. That's one of my main points. Is because we grew up playing Game Boys, but this is a Game Boy, entertainment center, email. You know, it's everything in one. So it's like, how are we able to even? Especially when I got kids, so. When it comes down to me raising my kids, I know I can't do it the same way my mother raised me. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it's no instruction to this life. You know what I mean?
You're right. And every day there's some new stuff coming out that you got to figure out.
Always some new. And I'm trying to wonder, like, do they want us to figure it out or not? Because they keep dropping stuff every 2 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like Jordan got shoes coming out every week. Yeah. Apple got a phone coming out every week. It's another platform to use every week. It's very, very crazy. And I know it's running y'all crazy because we all dealing with this in this world. So stop thinking that you're by yourself or you're the only individual that's dealing with these issues. We're dealing with these things together, like ourselves. So it's just like the new movie out there, Squid Games. They came together to leave. When they got scared, they just started thinking about all they did and all their problems. They seen all the people dying in front of them. Yeah. They realized that the majority rule. You know what I mean? So I just want everybody to realize that the majority rule. I'm not saying I'm trying to change the world, but I'm saying when it comes down to our mental standpoint, we got to work on it. We got to be stronger. We got to really put our foot on somebody's neck or something neck to get you know what I'm saying, a better place, because just being in Atlanta, it's filled with so many problems. We watch the news, all you see is killing every day. You seeing people stealing every day. It's like, it's hard to even come outside and be happy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I just know this episode that we're doing right now is going to really be effective, especially to our viewers and other people. We're going to open up doors. So you better get ready, man. I'm telling you, your phone going to be running off the hook. You know what I'm saying? So, okay. Ain't nobody saying nothing, right? So when we're going to say about ain't nobody saying nothing, it's situations where we need to talk about, but people right now ain't be saying nothing. So ain't nobody saying nothing. Why you think fast food's still working? Like, why you think fast food's still open? Because I feel like America's kind of weird because we the only people that can sue somebody for being fat.
Why is fast food still like
still doing numbers?
Because people want it.
Okay.
Well, if I'll get into, I mean, there's a lot more psychology and neuropsychology in these things than people, I think.
That's what I want you to talk about. Okay, all right, put it like this, CJ. Cecil Walker. This is Cecil Walker. Put it like this. Are people really living their lives that they want to live? or is it somebody else controlling their life?
That's a big question.
I know it
And
is.
it's gotta
and
be an
everything
answer.
is big on TNT, my baby. TNT. I said TVT, TNT. Everything big over here at TNT.
The country that we live in, the world that we live in right now, you see these like giant corporations, like McDonald's is huge. You see on their signs, they sell a billion burgers or whatever, a billion burgers.
Yeah.
You don't do that by accident. They're really intentional about how they do their things. And the reason you love to go to McDonald's is because they made it so that you love to go to McDonald's. So I think you could say that the way people live their lives, it's kind of been set up.
It's always been set up. And the only reason why I know this for a fact is because I talked to this guy. He said, if you want to be a millionaire, just get you a product that everybody needs. He said, but if you want to be a billionaire, you have to know the mind and control the mind, the human mind.
Mm-hmm.
And when he said that, it sounds so simple, but it's so real.
It's true.
You know what I mean? It's so real to the standpoint. I was just like, hold on.
Yeah.
Am I really living the life that I want to live? Am I really being the person that I want to be? And so that's what TapN TV was created. It's because I feel like it's more people out here that's like me that want to know, that want to ask questions, but they kind of scared.
Yeah.
And I'm not too scared to ask any questions.
Yeah.
But let alone that I need y'all to drop some questions down there in the comment section, just in case if I miss a point or something like that. Keep me sharp. You know what I'm saying? Because we here to keep each other sharp. So that's what TapN TV is about.
But yeah, you know, you're really onto something. That like dopamine that I was talking about earlier, that has to do with like your motivation to do anything.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything you buy or use or pay attention to, they are familiar with that system and they know what's going to activate the most amount of dopamine. So the fact that when you're on Facebook and you're scrolling down, they can make it to where Facebook shows you everything all at once. Like if you just wanted to like look at all the things you wanted to look at, but they make it so that you have to like dig through it and new stuff pops up. And every time that pop happens, your brain gets like a boost of dopamine. They like constructed everything to make it so that you want it as much as possible. The same with Instagram.
And that's how I feel about TikTok.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's so...
That is perfectly built to give you exactly what your brain wants.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it, man.
No, absolutely.
See that sometimes you don't have to go to college to get all the information that you need. Sometimes you just got to sit on the couch and just think to yourself, holler at Cecil Walker, because he's definitely going to keep us in a great position when it comes down to mental health. So I got probably like a few more questions.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So when it comes down to mental health, right? What are some of the points that people are just missing that could make their life a slight little bit better? Like they just walking past, just not caring. I probably answered that question myself, didn't
Yeah, you did. I mean, that's a real big part of it is you have to be intentional about this kind of stuff, right? Because depression can happen to almost anyone. Anxiety can happen to almost anyone. Definitely stress and living your life in a way that isn't good for you can happen to almost anybody. Being healthy, that doesn't happen accidentally. You got to be intentional about making your way out of your depression. You got to be intentional about making your way out of your anxiety and dealing with it. And one of the strongest things that people have to deal with those things is an awareness of it. Is to be able to say, I know what's going on right now for me. It's anxiety. It's this kind of thing is happening to me. And I know what I think I need to do to manage that, to box that up and move it to the side. And I think it's hard for people to make that jump from just being attacked by their mental illness rather than feeling like you are living with that mental illness and you can do whatever you need to do to pack it up and move it.
Do you think like all these like new groups that's being created, like the All Black Lives Matter, the LGBTQ, TGBTQ, all them letters, like the Blue Lives Matter, do you think all this stuff affect us in a positive way or a negative way? Most, like, you know what I'm saying, majority-wise.
Well, I don't see it as that new. I think people have been trying to figure out identity kind of stuff since human beings have existed ever, since the beginning of time. And these just happen to be the groups that exist right now. And I think it's a really human thing to to build up that sense of identity, to have like this group that I belong to, and then to use that to try to fight for whatever you think your group of people need. So I think that just is somehow built into human nature. I think though the way that we are making it seem like all these are like attacking each other and it's some
but
kind
that
of,
would seem like something.
right? Yeah. I don't think we have to do that. I don't think that is a necessary part of it.
Okay. And I got another question. You may answer, you may not. How do you tap into the left side of your brain?
Could you say some more about that? How do you tap into the left side of your brain?
This is TapN TV, man. Sometimes you can't get the answer from everybody. And this is your boy Cecil Walker. And this is the interview. We are talking about mental health and we are out of here. So is there anything you want to say before we leave, man?
No. I think you asked some real good questions. I hope it got people thinking. I hope it makes people, like I said, be a little bit more intentional. And I hope it makes it easier to have these kind of conversations. If we see somebody having some kind of struggle, it might be easier to tap them on the shoulder and say, you could do something.
And I'm definitely going to tap you on your shoulder if I see you walking in circles. Because at the end of the day, you got an issue. So out here today, I advise everybody to make sure you go out there and holler at least, I say, 2 people and let them know we dropped a video about mental health, let alone that work on their mental health. We're going to need to change our eating habits. We're going to need to change the way we speak to each other. We're going to need to change the ways that we act around each other, like especially when we out in that first impression. Let's change up the way. Matter of fact, this is a breakdown, sis. For all my young black men out there, bro, we gotta stop being so intense when we see each other. If we walking in the hallway by ourselves and we poke our chests out and, you know what I'm saying, like get real tough. Like, bro, let's quit all that, man. Because at the end of the day, we dealing with the same pain. I sat here and had an interview with this man, and this young man literally has told us some things that we can use in our life to cope with these traumas and with this pain that we dealing with, let alone it. He looked just like us. He looked just like us. So therefore, he didn't beat the system when it comes down to like falling in that depression state of thinking you can't do something because of what you look like. It's not about what you look like. It's about where you going, bro. It's not about where you at. It's about where you're going. So I advise all of us that look like this, next time you see a black man, say, "What's up, young king?" You know what I'm saying? Say, "What's up, man? How you doing, bro?" Like, we ain't gonna do no more mugging. You know what I'm saying? No more of that sizing up, man. Like, let somebody know what's up, man. And for all you people that's walking around with a stick in your butt, say what's up, man. Speak to somebody. That's how we can start it off. With TapN TV, all we gonna ask y'all to do is go out there and speak to at least 2 or 3 people that you usually don't even speak to. Just say, "What's up, man? How you doing? You doing all right? You need something?" And hope they don't need nothing because we ain't got nothing to get their ass. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, man, this is Cecil Walker. I am Mac the Motivator, and this is TapN TV. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit our Cash App up. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you say something in comments so we can hit that little pretty little heart on the side and like your little comment, man. It's us. Make sure you go to Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all the social platforms. I'm talking about every last one of them because we there. You know what I'm saying? And somewhere up above, we on the top too. So we looking down on them haters, man. It's Mac the Motivator. It's closing out. It was a great episode. I appreciate you tuning in, and I hope y'all tune in for more, baby, because we ain't stopping. And that's it. I'm done. I'm fucking done. All right? It's over. All right? Yeah. Sip and pimp. That's what we doing. All right? I was being nice before. Not being nice no more.
This podcast is brought to you by 31 Shade Street Production. You hear?
Really like a late night show. Yeah.
Shawty needed therapy. Her and the children, she tried to put a problems on me. And I wish I never met her. health issues.
Mental health.
Get yourself checked.
Straight up. That's it. That was all we needed, really.